Stories Between Us anthology, where Black queer men's lives, love, and tension take center stage. Curtis Devereaux inherited two things from his father: a restaurant with his mother's handwriting still on the office calendar, and the unshakable belief that he was the only thing standing between Devereaux's and ruin. What he didn't inherit, what nobody told him about, was the silent partner waiting in the wings to cash out, or the new server who'd walk through that door talking just enough mess to make Curtis forget, for whole minutes at a time, that he was supposed to be the responsible one. By the end of this Sunday, the restaurant would still be standing. So would Curtis. Neither of those were guaranteed at 8 a.m. The photo above the register was taken in 1987, and Curtis had stopped seeing it sometime around 2019. That was the honest truth, the one he wouldn't say out loud to anyone. Not to his Aunt Pat, not to the cooks, definitely not to the framed faces of his parents themselves, his father mid-laugh in a stained apron, his mother holding a pan of cornbread like a trophy. He walked past it 40 times a shift. He dusted it on Mondays. And most days it was just part of the wall. The way your own hands stop looking like hands after a while. This morning, 6:40, dining room dark except for the pass-through light, he stopped in front of it.
"Don't,"
he told them, low, like they might actually answer back if he gave them the chance. He had a list of things he wasn't doing today: crying, panicking, calling his aunt before he had real numbers to give her, and the photo had a way of making all three feel closer than he could afford. He went back to folding napkins. By 7, the kitchen was loud, Tessa running the flat top through its paces, the low rattle of the walk-in door. Curtis had the floor staff lined up against the host stand the way he did every Sunday, coffee in one hand, clipboard in the other. And this morning, he was walking the line like a man inspecting troops.
"Renee, turn around."
Renee turned around, sighing through her nose, and Curtis plucked a stray thread off her collar like it had personally offended him.
"Marcus, tuck that in. You're not bussing tables in 1996. Tessa, I can see your bra strap and I respect it, but not on the floor."
He kept moving down the line, adjusting an apron string here, frowning at a pair of sneakers there.
"We are a professional establishment. People come here in their Sunday best. The least we can do is not look like we just woke up in the walk-in."
"We're a soul food spot, chef, not the Ritz,"
said one of the cooks.
"The Ritz doesn't have Mother Odom's table watching everybody's life choices for 3 hours,
Curtis said.
"Mother Odom is worse than the Ritz. Mother Odom is the health inspector, the fashion police, and the church mother's board, all in one woman, and she will read you for filth and then tell your mama about it after. Everyone look alive, posture, aprons, fix your hair."
He clapped once, and somewhere down the line, a server who'd been mid-yawn snapped her mouth shut like she'd been caught. That was when the new kid drifted into frame. 3 weeks in, apron tied like he'd done it 1,000 times, hair already laid, not a thread out of place, like he'd known exactly what kind of morning this was going to be and dressed for it on purpose. Curtis stopped in front of him, looked him over, slow, head to feet and back up, the same inspection he'd given everyone else. Josh didn't flinch.
"Well?"
"Carry on,"
Curtis said, and moved on down the line before his own face could give away how cute he thought the new guy was.
"That's it? No notes?"
Josh called after him.
"I was ready for notes, chef. I rehearsed the defense."
"Nothing to fix,"
Curtis said over his shoulder and clicked his pen against the clipboard like that was the end of it.
"High praise,"
Josh said to Renee, who just looked at him with the patient, knowing face of a woman who'd been doing this job for 11 years and had seen this exact movie before. Curtis went down his list.
"Grad parties at 12 top, 11:30. They called ahead, so don't act surprised when they show up in caps and gowns at brunch. Mother Odom's table is reserved. You know which one? Don't sit anybody else near it before 11, 'cause she likes to spread out. We are out of the smoked turkey wings until Thursday's delivery, so if anybody orders them, redirect. Don't apologize, just redirect.
He looked up.
Everybody got that?
A chorus of yas. And then, from the end of the line,
What if they really want the turkey wings, though?
Curtis looked at the cute new guy, who was about to test his patience.
Then you tell them the smoked turkey wings have ascended. They're with the Lord now. They'll come back Thursday, resurrected in glory.
A couple of the servers laughed. Josh looked at Curtis a second too long, like he was deciding something.
That's a hell of a thing to put on a customer first thing Sunday morning.
It's a soul food restaurant,
Curtis said.
We talk about resurrection all day.
I'll work on my delivery.
You'll be fine.
Curtis clicked his pen again, already moving down the list, already not looking at him, which took more effort than it should have.
Tables 4 through 9 are yours today, patio and the window line.
Those are the worst tables,
Renee said, not looking up from rolling silverware.
Those are actually the busiest tables.
Curtis corrected.
I'm not punishing him. I'm finding out what he's made of.
Generous of you.
I run a tight ship.
You run a ship that's currently on fire, Chef. I can smell it from here.
That's the bacon. That's supposed to...
Curtis caught himself laughing, which he had not planned on, and covered it by clearing his throat and looking back at his clipboard like it had personally wronged him.
Anyway, doors at 8. Y'all know what today is. Sunday in this city, during football season, during a heat wave, the week after everybody got paid. So it's going to be Sunday squared. Drink water. Eat something before your section fills up because you will not get another chance until 2.
He paused, and for 1 second the inspection sergeant voice dropped away entirely.
And thank y'all. I know we're short-staffed and I know it's a lot to ask. I see how hard y'all are working.
Nobody said anything for a second. It wasn't the kind of thing he said often, and everybody knew it. Then his phone buzzed in his apron pocket, and he looked at it, and whatever had just softened in his face closed back over, fast, like a door someone had remembered to lock.
I gotta take this,
He said, already walking toward the office.
Renee, you got the floor for 5.
Always do.
Renee said to his back. The call was from the produce distributor. Curtis stood in the office, really a closet with a desk and a safe and a calendar that still had his mother's handwriting on it from 18 months ago because nobody had had the heart to take it down, and listened to a very polite woman named Donna explain that the account was 31 days past due and that they'd still fill today's order as a courtesy, but couldn't extend that courtesy again.
Understood,
Curtis said.
Thank you, Donna. I'll handle it this week.
He hung up and stood there a second, doing the math he'd already done 4 times this month, getting the same number, which was not enough. When he came back out to the floor, his face was doing the thing where it looked completely normal, which was how everyone who knew him well could tell something was wrong. Josh, restocking a server station 3 feet away, saw his face and very deliberately didn't ask.
Everything good, Chef?
Everything's great,
Curtis said.
8 minutes to doors.
By 10:30, the dining room had a sound to it. Not noise exactly, more like weather. Plates, laughter, the DJ booth in the corner running a playlist that went gospel to Beyonce to Frankie Beverly without anybody blinking. Ice machines. Somebody's toddler shrieking with delight 2 tables over at absolutely nothing. The grad party arrived at 11:20, 10 minutes early. 11 people deep in caps and gowns, and 1 grandmother in a church hat that could double as patio furniture. Curtis went over himself because he always did for the big ones. Leaned down to the grandmother's ear.
Mrs. Baptiste, look at you.
Look at you, baby, still skinny. Somebody feed this child.
She grabbed his hand in both of hers.
Your mama would be so proud of this graduate. You know that. Cordell here, engineering.
Engineering.
Curtis shook Cordell's hand. For 30 seconds, the produce bill and the office and the calendar with his mother's handwriting on it did not exist, because this was the part of the job nobody could put in a spreadsheet. 3 tables over, Mother Odom's group, 4 women, all in their 70s, all dressed like they'd come from church, watched this whole exchange with the focused attention of a panel of judges.
That's Yolanda Batista's grandbaby?
One of them said.
Engineering degree. I remember when that child couldn't tie his own shoes, and now look, time will get away from you if you let it.
Mother Odom didn't look up from her menu, which she had memorized 15 years ago and read anyway, every visit, like a ritual.
Where's the new one? The fine one with the dimples.
Mother Odom?
I'm just looking, Carol. The Lord gave me eyes. I'm going to use them. Fine as fuck, and I will say it in this restaurant if I want to. I'm 74.
The fine one with the dimples was currently 3 tables away, taking an order from a man who wanted to know with real urgency whether the grits were the good grits or the regular grits. And Josh, to his credit, answered this with total seriousness.
They're the same grits, sir, but I'll tell the kitchen you said that, and they'll take it personally. So it's on you.
The man laughed so hard he had to put his menu down. Curtis, passing behind with a tray of mimosas for table 6, caught the tail end of their banter. He set the tray down.
Table 6?
Table 6.
Josh confirmed, not turning around, somehow already aware Curtis was there.
Thank you for bringing that, Chef.
Curtis lingered, fishing for more conversation with Josh.
So how's the window line? These tables not giving you too much trouble, are they?
I'm surviving. Mother Odom's table asked me 3 times if I'm single. Those women are wild, and they keep asking for more mimosas.
They both laugh.
Those women raise hell every weekend here. So are you? Single?
I am, and I told her I'm expensive.
Josh said, smiling at Curtis.
Which is also true. Very high maintenance. You'd need a whole budget line item for me, Chef.
We don't have a budget line item for that.
Tragic.
Josh pressed a hand to his chest like he'd been shot.
And here, I thought we had something.
Curtis shakes his head and turns to walk away, already smiling, hoping it wasn't visible to Josh from behind.
Table 6 is getting cold. I'm going to go check on them. Get back to work, Josh. Keep flirting, and I might have to get our head of HR Mama Odom to check you.
The grad party's energy didn't fade. By noon, the DJ had pulled half the dining room into a second line, actual napkins waving overhead, Mrs. Batiste leading the whole thing down the aisle between tables like she'd been waiting all morning for an excuse. Curtis stayed in motion through all of it, plate after plate, table after table, and somewhere in there, he stopped letting himself think past the next ticket. Not because he was fine, because moving fast meant he didn't have to think about the bills. Renee broke that trance moments later.
Chef, office line. I picked it up by accident. It's the lease company, and they said it's urgent, and they want you to call back today.
Curtis didn't move for a second. Then he wiped his hands on his apron.
I'll call them back after the rush.
Curtis.
Renee's voice dropped. Just for him, just for a second, the kitchen noise covering it from everyone else.
You good?
I'm great,
Curtis said, in the voice that meant the opposite, and went into the office and shut the door. This call was longer. When he came out, he didn't go back to the kitchen pass, the long steel counter where finished plates lined up under heat lamps, where he could usually be found calling tickets and checking every dish before it left the kitchen. Instead, he went straight for the walk-in fridge, the big steel cooler off the kitchen. The kind of door that needed a wedge or a foot behind it, because once it swung shut, it sealed tight and there was no handle on the inside. Josh interrupted it 90 seconds later, holding a case of orange juice he absolutely did not need. He let the door swing shut behind him without thinking about it. The way you do when you've only been working somewhere 3 weeks and don't realize you just screwed up.
Yo, new guy, you're not supposed to be back here,
Curtis said, without turning around. He was standing with both hands flat on a shelf, head down, in the cold and the hum of the compressor.
I know.
Josh stepped further inside, setting the case down.
But everybody's been talking about you all morning. Renee's worried, Tessa's worried. Even Mrs. Baptiste asked me if the chef is all right. He looks thin around the eyes. So I figured I'd come see for myself to check on you.
Behind him, the door settled into its frame with a heavy, final-sounding click, the seal catching, the door locking. Curtis's head came up.
Did you kick the wedge?
What wedge?
Josh, there's a rubber wedge that's supposed to stay under the freezer door at all times. Somebody should have told you that day one.
Nobody told me anything about a wedge.
Curtis sighed. The door didn't move, didn't so much as shift in its frame, the seal holding tight the way it was built to. No handle, no latch, nothing on this side but smooth steel and the soft red glow of the emergency light over the shelving.
Damn.
That's it. All you can say is damn? Curtis dragged a hand down his face, turning to lean back against the door like that might somehow help.
This door doesn't open from in here. That's the whole point of the wedge. Renee knows not to come back here unless something's on fire, which means nobody's going to think to check on us for at least 20 minutes.
Josh wrapped his arms around himself, already feeling the cold press past his apron. They looked at each other.
Well, I guess we could just stand here freezing like idiots, or we could create some heat.
Josh took a step closer.
We could conserve our heat by holding each other. That's just basic survival, Chef. I saw a documentary about it.
You saw a documentary? Oh, really?
Yeah, I like to watch documentaries late at night.
You're right, it actually is getting colder. Come here, and I'm not going to be the little spoon. Grab that construction blanket over there.
Josh was closer now. The little spoon. When Josh's arms came around him, almost like he'd been waiting all day for an excuse to touch him, Curtis let himself be pulled closer to him. For a second, neither of them said anything. The freezer compressor hummed, their breath showing in the cold. Curtis could feel Josh all the way through 2 layers of uniform. Chest to chest, Josh's hands had somehow started to hold his hands.
It's working, isn't it?
I don't feel anything,
Curtis admitted, although that was slightly not true. His body was cold, but his lower regions seemed to be working just fine. He felt Josh's heartbeat against his own chest, felt the shape of him, the kind of build that made the uniform shirt sit different on him than it did on anyone else on the restaurant floor.
I feel a lot of things, actually. None of them are cold.
Curtis looked at Josh, at the dimples he hadn't noticed until now, at the curve of his mouth that had been talking mess at Curtis since 7 that morning, at the unguarded nature behind his eyes right now that felt like a spell being cast on him.
This was a terrible idea.
Yep. Worst idea I've had all month.
Josh agreed, as he closed the last few inches between them. The kiss was almost scripted. 3 weeks of Curtis pretending he hadn't noticed Josh noticing him. All of that ended at once, Josh's hand sliding into Curtis's hair, the other gripping the back of his apron. Curtis backed Josh into the shelving hard enough to rattle a case of butter, both of them laughing without breaking apart, cold lips and cold air, and the giddy recklessness of 2 men locked in a freezer making out.
Why are we kissing in a walk-in cooler?
Curtis kissed him again, softer, one hand braced against the shelf by Josh's head, the other curling into the front of his shirt, fisting the fabric like he had every intention of not letting go of Josh anytime soon.
You want to stop?
Oh, God, no.
Josh said, and pulled him back in. And this time his hand slid lower at Curtis's hip with a grip that said exactly what kind of man was under all that "I'm expensive" energy when nobody else was watching. The ticket bell rang twice from the kitchen, Tessa's signal for orders dying. "Where is everybody?" muffled almost to nothing through the heavy door. It took another 4 minutes. Renee, finally pounding on the door and yelling that the walk-in handle had been
Doing that since March. I keep telling Pat to call somebody.
And by the time the door swung open, both of them had at least managed to look like two people who'd been discussing inventory, if you didn't look too closely at how flushed they both were for a room that cold. Renee looked at both of them with suspicion in her eyes, but she didn't say a single word. She just held the door, raised both eyebrows at the ceiling like she was praying for patience, and went back to the floor. Josh was back to servicing his tables when Mother Odom had flagged him down on his way past her table, wanting her check and a refill of her sweet tea to go.
You and the chef!
Mother Odom said, eyes sharp over the rim of her glasses.
Y'all are cute together, you know that?
Josh laughed, deflecting on instinct.
Oh, no, ma'am, we're not. We're just co-workers. He's my boss. It's not like that.
Mother Odom patted his hand. She was a woman who had been coming to this restaurant since it was a card table and a folding grill, and has therefore seen everything, including things people think they're hiding.
Well, trust me, I know what I'm talking about.
She went back to her plate before Josh could find a reply to that. The last table left at 4:40, a slow trickle of goodbyes and to-go boxes, and by 5 the dining room had gone from chaotic to silence. Chairs up on some tables, somebody running the vacuum in the back corner, the DJ long gone, just the hum of the ceiling fans winding down. Curtis was at the register doing the count when the door chimed. He didn't look up right away, figured it was Renee's ride or somebody who'd left something, and when he did look up, there was a man standing just inside the door.
Hello, Curtis. Last time I saw you, you were about this tall.
He held a hand at waist height.
You probably don't remember me, do you?
No, I don't. How can I help you?
Curtis said.
My name is Samuel Tran.
He looked around the dining room, at the photo of Curtis' parents over the register, at the streamers from the second line nobody had swept up yet.
This place hasn't changed at all.
That's the idea. Is there something I can help you with?
Curtis set down his pen. Something in his stomach had gone very still, the way it did right before bad news, before he even knew what the bad news was.
I'm sorry. How did you know my parents?
Samuel exhaled and pulled out a chair from the nearest table without asking.
In 2008, this place had a fire. A real bad one. Insurance didn't cover rebuilding. Your father needed capital fast, or the place would close for good. I'd known your family a long time. Your dad and I went to high school together. I put money in as a silent investor. Your dad didn't want it to look like the restaurant wasn't really yours.
The man spread his hands.
I've been a silent owner of this place for 18 years, Curtis. No one really told you who Tran Enterprises was on the lease? That's me.
Behind Curtis, near the kitchen doors, Renee had gone still with a stack of chairs in her hands. Josh, halfway through wiping down the host's stand, had stopped moving entirely.
No,
Curtis said.
I didn't know that. I was told that was a subsidiary that no longer existed.
Figured your mother might have told you after your father passed. Guess she didn't get to it.
Samuel said it like a scheduling oversight.
Look, I'm not here to be the bad guy, but I've also seen the books. Donna at the produce company's a friend of mine. Small world, I know. You're underwater, Curtis. And I think the responsible thing for both of us is to sell this place. I've got a buyer interested in the building. Real money. More than either of us sees if we keep running it into the ground for another 5 years.
This is my parents' restaurant. I can sell it. It's part of the community.
I know that. I'm not trying to take a wrecking ball to their memory.
He stood, buttoned his coat.
I'm not asking for an answer tonight, but I'd start thinking about it. There's a real offer on the table, and it won't be on the table forever.
The door chimed shut behind him. For a moment, nobody in the restaurant moved. Then Curtis laughed, a single ugly sound, and hit both hands flat against the counter.
I need everybody to go home.
Curtis was already moving toward the office, toward anywhere that wasn't this room with his parents' faces watching from the wall.
Please, I'll lock up. Just go home, everybody.
He sat in the office a long time, just the glow from the parking lot through the high window, his mother's calendar still open to a month 18 months gone. Long enough that his legs went stiff. When he came back out, he expected an empty dining room. Renee was there. Tessa, still in her kitchen whites, leaning against the counter. Two of the line cooks. Mrs. Baptiste, still here somehow. Sitting at the 12 top like she'd never left, her grandson Cordell beside her with his laptop open. Mother Odom and two of her friends, coats on, purses in laps, looking for all the world like they were waiting on a ride that was taking its time. And Josh, standing near the host's stand, arms crossed, watching the door to the office.
What are y'all doing? I told y'all to go home. Really, you don't have to worry about me. I'm fine.
Curtis, shut up!
Mother Odom said.
You're just like your father, so much pride.
Curtis looking around at all of them, this strange assembled congregation at 6:15 on a Sunday.
This is not something y'all need to be involved in.
Curtis.
Renee's voice was quiet, but it stopped him cold. The way it had when he was 23 and grieving and trying to fire himself from his own kitchen out of guilt.
I've worked here 11 years. You think I haven't noticed the produce order's been smaller for 2 months? We knew, baby. Not the silent partner part. That's new to us all. But the rest? We've known a while. We just didn't know how to bring it up without you shutting the whole conversation down. Which, no offense, you were about to do just now.
It's not your problem to fix Renee.
It's not just your problem to fix alone either.
Tessa said.
I've worked this line since I was 19. My kids have eaten more meals at that 12 top than at our own table. This isn't charity, Curtis. This is our restaurant too. You've just been carrying it like it's only yours.
Cordell looked up from his laptop, still half in his cap and gown.
Hey, Chef. I do financial modeling for work. I graduated today. This is wild. But Mrs. Batiste mentioned the produce thing in the car, and I started running numbers on my phone. If even a third of the regulars who come through weekly committed to a standing order, plus a modest community investment, not even close to what this guy's buyer is probably offering, but enough to buy that guy out of his half of the lease.
He's good, ain't he?
Mrs. Baptiste said, beaming, patting his arm.
I don't even know this man's terms,
Curtis said.
How could I have let this happen? Why did my mother never tell me about this?
Then you find out, baby.
Mother Odom said.
Tomorrow, with people behind you, instead of alone in that little office with your mama's calendar still on the wall. We're not telling you we've got the whole answer tonight. We're telling you you're not finding it out by yourself. That's the part you don't get to refuse.
Curtis looked around the room. 11 years of Renee. Tessa, raising kids on this kitchen's wages. Mrs. Batiste, who'd been coming here since before Curtis was born. Mother Odom, who knew exactly what his mother's handwriting looked like because she'd watched her write it for 30 years. A kid who'd graduated today, still half in his cap and gown with a laptop open in a restaurant instead of out celebrating because this place mattered enough to do that. And Josh, still by the host stand, still not saying anything, waiting to see if Curtis had learned tonight what Josh had spent the whole day trying to make him see.
Okay, all right,
Curtis said.
Now!
Mother Odom said, standing, gathering her purse.
Some of us have a ride waiting and a roast in the oven. Curtis, baby, lock the door behind us.
On her way past, she put a hand to his cheek, dry and warm.
Your mama would be so proud of how loud this room got tonight, defending her restaurant. You hear me?
Yes, ma'am,
Curtis said, and didn't bother hiding the second crack in his voice this time. She paused at the door, glanced back at Josh, still by the host stand, still watching Curtis like he was the only thing in the room, and smiled, small and satisfied, like a woman who'd called something correctly and intended to remind everyone of it later. She said to herself and let the door shut behind her. It took 20 minutes to get everyone out, Cordell promising an actual financial model by Tuesday, Renee hugging Curtis hard enough to count as minor assault, Tessa on her way out telling him to get some sleep. He looked like the turkey wings. Ascended. And then it was just the two of them. Josh was stacking the last chairs, methodical, not looking over. Curtis killed the dining room lights except the one over the register, the one that lit the photo, his parents, 1987, mid-laugh in a pan of cornbread.
Hey, you,
Curtis said. Josh straightened up.
Hey, Freezer Buddy.
They both chuckled.
I hope you saw tonight how many people in this room actually care about you. And for what it's worth, I'm not going anywhere. I like it here. And I especially like you, possibly an unprofessional amount as of about 4 hours ago in a refrigerator.
An unprofessional amount is right,
Curtis repeated, the weight from his shoulders finally starting to ease up a bit.
You know I've got skills past balancing trays, Curtis. I'd love to help more around here. I see everything you're doing every single day.
Okay, you really want to help me,
he said, and reached out and grabbed Josh's hands and pulled him in close.
Ready for your first training session?
Josh licked his lips.
Already? Do I at least get paid time and a half?
Aprons dropped to the floor. This kiss was nothing like the walk-in freezer kiss. No cold, no ticket bell waiting to pull them apart. Just Curtis's hand sliding to the back of Josh's neck, Josh letting his tongue do the talking. Curtis walked them backward toward the office, one hand braced on the small of Josh's back, both of them laughing into more kisses. The office light clicked off, and the door eased shut behind them. What happened after that stayed between the two of them. Behind them, out in the dark dining room, the photo over the register kept its eternal half-laugh, 1987, a pan of cornbread held up like a trophy. Watching, the way it always had, while underneath it Devereaux settled into the kind of quiet that wasn't empty so much as full, finally, of everything it had survived to keep. Outside, the streetlights came on, one by one, down the block, and the restaurant, chairs stacked, lights low, doors locked, stayed exactly where it had always been. Thank you for listening to Stories Between Us Anthology. You can find every episode on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Rate the show and leave a comment. It helps more people find us.